button. Push the button. There we go. She who pushes the button has pushed the button. Ladies What Pod, episode 44.
Yes.
I got to 40. I thought we were 44 2 weeks ago, so I've totally confused myself and I'm scared to say the numbers now. Yeah, so welcome, Ladies What Pod, episode 44. An action-packed weekend we've had that we are going to talk about and discuss all sorts of things that you would never hear on any other pod. So welcome, Mrs. Jones. Do you want to introduce yourself to the people who might be new to the pod?
Yes, indeed. Claire Jones, normally with a red hat, which is just behind me here. And a camera stuck to my face. Yes, this is the one I wore this weekend.
Good.
And I am in a rather damp and windy Cambridgeshire, just north of Cambridge, on the edge of the fens. Where are you, Mrs. Saunders?
I am Lis Saunders. I am chairman of the Saint Supporters Club, one half of Ladies What Pod, which is actually becoming the most important aspect of my life, I think. And I am in South Northamptonshire, where again it is very windy and rainy. And I have spent the morning. I mean, it's 12 o'clock now. But I was up early this morning to be at Towcester Mini Rugby's jaunt, where it was equally windy and entertaining. So that's who we are. We have no qualifications whatsoever to talk about rugby, just like anybody else on any pod. But we've been watching it since Adam was a lad, really. So that's,
and he's very short trousers.
Yes, so that's why we chat about rugby. And so let's start with Friday Night Lights, another light show which I think went off better. The music was better. The photo with the phones, it looked good on the telly when I watched it.
It looked good generally. I mean, when you're sat down low and you're looking across the scene, it does look very impressive. Sherpa 2, aka Ryan Robinson from media manager for Bedford Blues, was very impressed. He was sat with the IT department, my IT department, Sherpa 1. And he was very impressed. And he had downloaded good. The app, so it was actually good. He was being very good. But it did look it looks very impressive, and it is so good not to have fireworks smoke.
Yeah. No, and actually, I mean, there's a lot of positivity. I mean, there's some negativity. There always is. People complaining, I preferred the fireworks. Now I bet you complained about the blasted fireworks when they first started. And it's and other people going, it's brilliant. We don't have all that smoke. And as somebody said, for those of us with asthma, it just means there is no issue at all. And I thought I thought of that. But yeah,
and those of you, really good. I bet you if you ran a poll, those that like the fireworks sit in the church's stand, and those that really dislike them stand on the terrace.
Yes,
and they're in the telly stand because they're just in plumes of
Carlsberg.
Smoke.
It's the Carlsberg stand.
Carlsberg. I've gone back again. The Carlsberg stand. So I like the lights. The lights are good.
I think it's good. I think that the timing needs to maybe be tweaked a bit. It did seem to go on a bit too long,
yes, and I think it's linked to TNT as much as anything.
Yeah.
So I think there's a bit of finessing. But we said it looks really good. It does. It's a bit different, so come on, everybody, get with the programme.
Yeah, so that's how it...
I thought there were more lights this time than there were last time.
I did, actually, watching it back on the telly. Yes, there seemed to be. And it'll get, it's new to everybody, and it will be... The other good thing was that we found our voices as well. We weren't all just sitting, there was a bit more cheering and stuff. Ooh. Yeah, there was a bit more interaction from the crowd, which was all good.
It was very, very good. And yes, sadly, the orange shirts those shirts are shocking.
Oh, that's just that. No,
there's something about them. They look like they're
cheap.
They look cheap. They look like they've been in the wash. And the Curry brothers have clearly given their shirts a really hard time because whoever is the poor soul, the kit man, has obviously got a sewing machine because he or she has had to
mend
them. But your seams would never look like that, Liz.
No.
You would just know.
I wouldn't be sending them out.
No,
like that.
No, they did not. As my mother-in-law would say, they didn't look all of a piece.
So, no. They did. I think the colour, I think they've been done on the cheap because you can always.
They are macron shirts. But I don't know whether they've got the teak range and we've got the slightly more,
I suspect they have because the fabric looks very flimsy and cheap, I have to say. Yeah. Anyway, to be honest, Sale's performance in the first half matched the flimsy and cheap fabric, I felt. It was poor old. I actually felt a little bit sorry for Alex Sanderson at halftime. I thought he looked shell-shocked.
I think he said he was shell-shocked. I think his players let him down. I don't know what... I mean, I'm not going to say... In the same way we don't single out players for our team when things go horribly wrong, I think it was a collective... what the hell was going on? Because they can't have had that as a game plan. I think it was interesting that Sanderson actually called himself out.
Yes, yeah.
And this idea that they were focusing on us as a team.
Yes.
We've always consistently said, no, we focus on our game plan and what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Focus on the opposition. Because it did seem to... what did he call it? The tumble
dryer.
The tumble dryer.
Like going through a tumble dryer when you've been...
you don't know what we're going to do.
You just,
But throwing the ball at the opposition is not usually a way of... not keeping the ball is not going to be a way of scoring more than the opposition. And I mean, still think George Hendy's try when they tried some sort of fancy overthrow that the bloke didn't expect, so basically knocked it into George's hands. And George read it. Oh, thank you very much. I'm away, all with my back to front legs and everything. It's sticking me tongue out. Go, as he said, you've got to go large, Claire. You've got to go large.
Bless him. And he did. He was lovely to see him back. Absolutely brilliant to see him back. And surviving being dropped on his head by a Sale player. But more of that little incident later when I talk about our best referee friend, she said, with more than hint of irony. First things first, poor old Robbie. I mean, I think we need to make sure Graham does not have any players on the Saints show ever again. He can interview the ones who are injured, but he's not having anybody who isn't injured because within
a fortnight,
they're being stretchered off, so he can pack that in straight away.
So Graham had Sam Graham the week before Sam's terrible injury, and last week he had Wee Trev and Big Trev, and then Wee Trev
got splatted.
By a Curry, followed by a Dupree, who both class acts they are. I have to say, I was very impressed. Both came to see Robbie as he was being tended to by the medics to wish him well. So, but Graham, no more. No. In fact, players who are already on the injured list, I fear for them because you don't want to set them back,
Oh, do you think if they go on, I suppose, as somebody pointed out that when George and Tom Seabrook and Berger had all done their ACLs or whatever it was, they all did in the same match, was it? Do you know it was James Ram, and they'd all injured in if not in the same game within a week of each other. Their rehab was helped by having each other, so at least Robbie and Sam have got each other they're not rehabbing on their own, so I think that will help. But boys, get well soon. And then take your time, if that makes sense. Just do what you need to do.
Listen to the medics.
Yeah.
eat
Yeah.
properly.
Don't try and make out you're better than you are. Just
Yeah.
make sure you're fully healed,
Yeah.
and we'll see you back when you're back and hobbling around in the meantime. So Curtis, who'd not been expecting to play probably longer than about 20 minutes, I had to tell him before the game to get in the zone because he was looking very relaxed. Then he got in the zone. He came on the pitch and boy, did it. I don't know what zone he got into, but he got into a zone. Man, he was rushing around wanting to pick a fight with anybody, I thought. Well, in a sales shirt. To be fair.
He wasn't trying to lamp his own side, thank God.
No.
But he was hell-bent on winding up the man who's probably been picked ahead of him.
Yeah.
In English.
Yeah.
Luke Cowan-Dickie was probably quite glad to see the back of Curtis at the end of the game because Curtis was on a one-man mission to take his ball off him. No, it's my ball.
Yeah. There was an incident at a line-out when they couldn't decide whose line-out it was, and Curtis, possession is 9/10 of the, and it was not going to let go of that ball until he was told to by the teacher. Yes. And the teacher had to ask the head teacher whose ball it was. And then we think the head teacher got it wrong anyway, but he had to give it up to Luke Cowan.
Yes, it's very odd.
Yeah.
It got it wrong twice, actually. So Curtis was hell-bent on annoying Mr. Cowan-Dickie, and I think he did.
I think he did.
Perfectly well.
He succeeded. And I was going to say, talking of annoying sale players, I thought our young Henry not annoyed the Curry twins so terribly, terribly well. He was very proud of it.
He was very proud of it. In the posterior and did a magnificent job.
Yeah. The whirling devil or the Tasmanian dervish, not sure which he is still, but he was a fantastic debut from him. And our other Premiership at home starting debut, that's a lot of words. Arrange them into a sentence. Young Gavin Thornbury, who made a very self-assured, very steady debut. I thought was
very calm and steady in a crisis. He's this. You can see he's playing the role of senior bloke on the field. Yes, and doing it very well.
At the age of 30 or something.
Yes. If he has to part Curtis from somebody, he's probably going to be doing it. Yes. That child. But Curtis, hopefully, he's had a pikelet delivery. So hopefully you delivered pikelets. Yes.
Delivered pikelets. So maybe that might calm him down. I don't know. We will see at Bristol. Who's the hooker at Bristol?
Gabriel O'Gray, who is in the England squad, I believe. So he's another one he's going to be winding up. Oh no, he won't be there. Oh yeah, he won't be there, so he can't wind him up.
No, they won't be there. Of course not. No, so he can't wind him up. So we'll have to find somebody else to wind up.
I have to say, there's one performance we have forgotten to even talk about earlier, which is, of course, Pete Nuttall, who wasn't northern. He resisted the temptation to go very northern.
He was doing quite un-northern, without being southern.
Calm, yes, which was remarkable given the amount of sugar that you'd fed into him in that chocolate.
I don't think he'd eaten a cake. It was an amazing. It was a diabetic coma on a plate.
Yes, I thought that he wasn't. He wasn't actually. That's true because he wasn't revealing his hand whether he'd snuck a slice before the game. Apparently, there was much merriment in the box. Big screen box were very happy because that's where the cake went. That's where it lived during the game. So he wasn't letting it. He wasn't letting it be anywhere near the tunnel area because he knew it'd be at risk.
Yes. Well, we know what happens with food in the tunnel area. Whether it's in your paw or not, it'll be swiped if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So yes, because he promised his daughter some of the cake. So I hope it got home. I hope it was enough.
I hope so. But it was a magnificent thing. As were the pikelets. Nice. I have to say the pikelets look very good.
Well, I had to deliver extra pikelets because Phil Guttridge going, I don't know what pikelets are. So he had to deliver pikelets as well.
The whole ground was weighed under cake and pikelets.
Yeah, pretty much. I was coming in when you have to have your bag search because the bag search man was very much on his job on Friday. I felt very much on his job. And so
I looked at him and went, I come here every other week. What? And then the lady looked at me and went, "It's a camera bag full of cameras." I went, "Really?"
So I showed him the bag and I went, "That's a box full of cake, and there's boxes of pikelettes, and that's a bag full of Halos kit." And he went, "Oh, okay, go through then." I thought, I could have just lied to you. I don't know what you're looking for, but I could have just lied to you. Yeah. Perhaps if I put my high-vis on before I go into the game.
No, well, put it this way, I was wearing my pass and stuff, so I
got my pass and everything, so it was very bizarre. Anyway, well done, that man, for doing your job. looking mystified by the woman with cake.
And cameras in a camera bag. Right.
Who would have expected? Right. Yes. So poor old Robbie got injured. Ferbs was looking like, well, poor lamb. That ruined his good looks by the end of the game, didn't it? That eye.
I bet he'd get a really good part in a gangster film now.
Yeah. So it was the first, quite early in the first half. It started, got gashed, didn't it? And then
he was, it was, yes. And I think it continued from last week, because I think he got a banger in that area last week. So he's just sort of building it up nicely.
Yes, so that was good. So poor old
I don't think George thought so, but he couldn't see out of his eye.
No, not at all. But he still was interviewed at the end of the game, wasn't he? I think it was.
Yes, they were doing the thing where let's grab a player, which of course causes, I think it was Liz and Bobby, to run around like demented fleas, grabbing people and sticking them in front of the camera. Because it's all sort of, these sort of, it's very ad hoc. We're just wandering up to a player. No, you're not.
Yeah. You don't risk that, dare you? I mean...
Could you imagine the legend that is Ed Prowse?
Yeah, well... I say big Trev's getting to be a bit of a media tart.
Yes, yeah.
Right. But anyway, so so the game itself, I said the first half was just scintillating. That's some of the best rugby, well, certainly this season. I mean, it was just champagne stuff. We were popping up all over the shop. We were just the slightest error they made, we were in like Flint and
we just punished them. It was where the week before we get the ball with the whitewash and wouldn't get it down.
Yeah,
this week we were just slightest error. We just punished them, and it was.
Yeah, it was. And then the second half was a bit weird, really. I think.
Well, we went to kick tennis partly because they went to kick tennis.
Oh, yes.
I did warn you.
Just what we said we didn't want, and then good.
Here we go. And we hadn't been to trainings, hadn't taught them the Morris dancing tactics, so they didn't employ those. And so we ended up, for a fleeting moment, we thought they must have thought they had they were on for a comeback when they scored. But no, the defence held out really, really well, and Henry Pollock absolutely scintillating tackle. I mean, not to give up and to get under. That was just brilliant.
Well, Brian O'Driscoll was purring about him, and he said, to be fair, Henry had left the gap slightly anyway, but then he more than made good. And he said that's everybody makes mistakes, but then to go and correct your mistake like that is just I think Brian O'Driscoll was a bit in love with Henry by the end of it.
But a lot of people are.
A lot of people are, including Henry, to be fair. I did have a quick chat with him at the Bedford game and said, well played, Henry. You annoyed the Curry brothers, and he said, yes, I did. Did go on to say other things, but that's not for the pod.
In a very Henry kind of way.
In a very Henry kind of way, yeah. With Jake going, perhaps we'll home.
So, yes, the second half, I think best forgotten. It turned into a bit of a grind fest. Although, again, those that came on in the second half did the job. They turned the screw, and James Ram's try was a thing of beauty.
Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the celebrations were brilliant. And because of the orange shirt, my camera had decided its colour balance was going to be slightly too warm. But it gave the photographs, that celebration photograph, a sort of ethereal quality that I thought, I'm not going to correct it. It looks rather nice. It had a sort of painting quality to it.
It does have a really almost one of those clever ones where almost a 3D effect. But we can see one of those later, can't we? Will you show us one of those later?
I will show one later. Yes, absolutely. But yes, so James Ram's try was beautifully taken, well done, James. That was good stuff. So it was 7-7 in the second half.
Yeah,
and so there's more work to do, but it's it's 5 points in the bag.
Exactly.
We're now in 5th. It's having a very similar pattern to last season.
Very similar, very scarily similar. We need to mention another Aussie, having mentioned James Ram, the irrepressible Angus Scott Young.
Had a really good game.
Cap. Really good game for his 50th cap, and he's another character, isn't he?
Yes, he's definitely a character. Definitely a character. A very clever character, given all the degrees he's got.
Yeah.
Definitely a character and a very talented artist.
Yes.
But no, it's amazing he's got to 50 caps so fast. Well done, Angus. Great work.
Yes. Brilliant.
Right, now we need to pick the ladies' pod player of the match, Mrs.
Well, do we want to talk about Carl Dixon first? Because
I can't steer her away, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, no, you'll be because credit where credit is due. Carl Dixon first, do no harm. So when George had been dropped on his head by that nasty sale player, Christoph was going, he was knocked off his line by Tom James. He wasn't. So therefore, yada, 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 just a penalty. And Carl Dixon said, I really think you need to look at it again, Christoph. I think it's more than just a penalty. And he was completely right. It was actually possibly even more than just a penalty than they went. But they went with the yellow card, which was better than just a penalty. And there was at least one other decision where Carl Dixon was actually arguing in our favour. So that was good.
Who would have thought?
Yes. So I didn't beat him to a pulp at any point. So that's good. So that was good. I wouldn't be arrested.
Well, I noticed that he was keeping an eye on you, and he made sure he could spend as much time in front of the Carlsberg as possible.
No, he was in front of us at one point.
I know he was. Yes, he was. They used to do the thing every time they scored. They swap sides.
They swap. Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
No.
I think they do one half on one side and one half on the other side.
Yeah, I think they do. They do. Yeah. So, player of the match, then. Who are we going to go for? I think we've got quite a selection to choose from, really.
Well, yes, we have. I'm going to put a bid in because I thought of this morning for
go on.
James Ram. Because every time he came on, we did something amazing.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well,
First
I also...
when George was off for his blood bin, James comes on. Yeah. Away we go. And then in the second half... yes, impact on the game.
But then, following on our conversation we had last week and again last night, Finn Smith, because he is so good, but we expect him to be so good, so we don't hand out the plaudits anymore because that's just our expectation. So I'm going to put a bid in for Finn, even though he missed a couple of conversions. But
TP had another outstanding game.
Oh, he did.
Carpenter Will was almost looking over. He's like, where is he? I want to make sure I know where he is. I think I worry that TP's getting to the same status as Finn. We just expect TP to be.
Yes, I did actually. In fact, when he was replaced, I said, "Oh, I think he's up for our man of the match, if not TNT's man of the match." So, player of the match. Sorry, speak correctly. Yeah. So I'm torn, really. I'm torn.
Should we give it to Mr. Smith Finn? That is.
Yes, the Smith of the Finn.
Finn.
Poor old Robbie can't get it.
No. Well, he gets lots of love for not being full. He does. But no, yeah. Finn is our Ladies What Pod player of the match for just being utterly brilliant.
Every time. Yeah.
And he's so young. He's just ridiculously young.
Crazy young.
Crazy.
So,
now you came up. We did talk about this before we started recording. You came up with an outstanding candidate,
Sgt Wilson
Award for.
Yeah, it was quite hard because one person who wasn't going to get it was Curtis, because he had to be spoken to several times. But I thought Chenya, because quite early on he pointed out to Christoph that the reason why Saints' timing appeared to be off was because Sale were holding their players. I'm showing you. Those who are on Spotify, you can't see this, but I'm indicating holding a player up as if I could. Holding their players up for a little too long. And Christoph went, no, it's your timing that's off, because we got penalised several times for that. And it wasn't until the last quarter where the other assistant ref or Rowan, couldn't tell who it was on my ref link, said, you need to have a word with Sale. They're holding their players up for too long. And I think then they did get penalised. But Chenya pointed it out in the first 10 minutes. So I think he deserves, and he was very polite about it. And having been told, no, your timing's off, he didn't whinge about it. They just carried on about their business. And
he's a top lad. So I'm all for that. Chenya, congratulations! You win this week's Sgt Wilson Award for outstanding engagement with a recalcitrant referee.
Yes, and then the other things that were happening on Friday night, talking about a young side. Sorry, the young Exeter side were put to the sword by Newcastle. Yay!
And of course, winning points were scored by former of this parish, Ethan Grayson.
When we're talking about young people as well. So
22. He didn't seem to have as many bandages this week. I was quite pleased at that. But well done, Ethan. Well done, Newcastle Falcons. We need rugby to be strong in the north. And a lot for Mr. Baxter and his charges to think about, because they are in a... Newcastle is still bottom of the pile.
Yes.
But Exeter are not looking full shilling. So
they're yes.
Ouch.
Anyway, but good for Newcastle. So moving on to Saturday, when we went to Bedford, and if I could just show you something, I don't know if you can see what it says.
Bit
on
further.
there.
That's it. Liz Saunders, Saints legend.
That is what Bedford's media manager, Sherpa 2, Ryan Robinson, thinks of me. Thank you, Ryan. The tickets that I collected from the ticket office yesterday afternoon, I said, "Oh, can I have that envelope?" Because you don't get many plaudits in life.
That's good. Saints legend. Well, there you go.
So off we went to Bedford in the sunshine, actually, by the time the game started.
Yeah, it was good. Apparently it had been very wet in Bedford all morning. It was certainly wet in Cambridgeshire. It turned out to be a beautifully sunny and warm afternoon. I wasn't even wearing a coat.
Yeah, it was glorious.
It was utterly glorious. The rugby...
What did I say? Not cohesive, I think, was cohesive or coherent, actually, either. It was a bit patchy.
Well, to be fair on Bedford, their whole back line was completely discombobulated because First, Louis James had to go off with an injury very early in the game.
Yes.
And then Michael Le Bourgeois had to go off as well. And so the shuffling in the pack. So I can't imagine George Makepeace Cubitt thought he was going to be coming on at centre in the way that he did.
No.
Yes, it was all a bit. But it was piles of bodies throwing themselves at each other.
Yeah, the line out was a bit scrappy, wasn't it? It was all a bit, all over the place. But
great scrummaging. The man of the match for Bedford was Ocean Heffernan, and he had a former of this parish.
Yeah,
he had a very good afternoon in the scrum. We had 6 Saints players there.
Yes,
see if I can remember them.
Yes,
the legend that is Ed Prowse was back at lock and was replaced later in the game by George Smith.
Yeah,
I can't believe
very tall
George is.
He is very, very tall.
And
very
he did a lot of rampaging around down the slope in the second half. Ed got the joy of going up the slope in the first. We had George Makepeace Cubitt on the bench. We had Beltus. Beltus came on in the second half.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
as did Craig Wright, who looked very assured.
Yes,
but again, I think both hookers, James Fish, former of this parish, and Craig had a difficult afternoon with the line-out. Not quite sure why that was misfiring, but it wasn't quite its normal.
Yeah, it wasn't
smooth. Quite. It's normally an area they're very secure.
Yeah.
Congratulations! Oh, have I done everybody? I think I've forgotten somebody. It'll come to me in a minute.
Was there another back?
Another back. Will Glister was a travelling substitute.
So there was George.
Oh, how could I forget Ollie Scola?
That's it. Yes, not another back.
Ollie Scola, one of our academy props. He must be playing. That must have been one of his very first adult games of rugby.
Grown-up games.
Grown-up games of rugby.
Talking about first adult games of rugby, we saw Alfie Garside play his first one at the beginning of the season, and my goodness me, he has, to say he's come on in leaps and bounds, he was everywhere yesterday, wasn't he? He scored a lovely try. And including
really, really assured, very aggressive, he's coming on. And then had the joy of having to take his top off in the auction.
Yes,
more of that shortly.
Yes,
so I feel for him. So it was a comfortable win in the end for Bedford, 5 points, and they're now up to third in the championship, which is brilliant. They're fantastic. Playing some really, really good stuff, and even if yesterday was a bit stodgy in places, it was good. It was good to see. Will Maisie, he still keets going, bless him. He's playing some
knocking those conversions over.
His best rugby this season. At fly half. So so a good win. And of course we have to congratulate Dean Adamson. I think he's become the leading try scorer ever in the championship.
That was being talked about, yes.
Do you know? So yes, wiping out photographers, Dino, is not a good thing. Poor Key. Second half when he scored his second try, he went for the dive and kind of mistimed the slide. But anyway, hey ho. But well played, Mr. Adamson. That was good stuff. And then it was the auction. Because it was Ladies' Day. Sue Ryder was the charity. They do it every year, which is why when you see the photographs, you'll see that Bedford were playing in pink and white shirts for Ladies' Day. I thought it was a very nice thing that Doncaster did, because they had pink training tops to support the day, which I thought was a really nice touch on the part of Doncaster. The auction is infamous.
It's bonkers. Bonkers it is.
Yes,
just
was
bonkers.
That the first one you've ever been to, Mrs. Saunders?
Yeah. Proper
It's
bonkers.
crazy, and an amazing amount of money is spent in that auction. Sam Roberts does a really, really good job of running it. And yeah, lots and lots of money raised. Dean's shirt went for £2,000 this year, but it was still remarkable. I felt really sorry for the players who were standing there for the first time. So Alfie Garside was one. Fred Tuilangi looked very unconvinced. Basically, they picked 7 shirts from the squad, and James Lennon went for the "I'm going to buy my own" shirt.
Oh, I thought that was brilliant. A brilliant tactic. Yes.
Get the price up by threatening to buy it yourself.
Yeah.
And I think £500. Very good.
Yeah, very good. Very good. That was highly entertaining.
Really good charity day. Really good result for you. And they get a week off next week. Well, this week, depending on your point of view. So I think they've earned it.
I think so.
Meanwhile, back at the Gardens, the
African Violets were had got some of their. Excuse me, I'll just read the notes I've made because obviously we weren't there. So they were playing Sale again.
Yes,
and Sale got the same. The ladies, the Sale women, got the same number of points as the Sale men had got on Friday night, which is quite a coincidence. And the Lightning didn't quite make the same as Saints had, but the 36-17 was still a convincing win and just what they needed because they've been on the sticky end of a couple of losses. But they got some of their internationals back, including Beau Westcombe-Evans, who apparently had not trained all week, but still turned up, played and scored 2 tries. She is something special, that lass, isn't she?
Yes,
and
absolutely. Yes.
And the US international Hallie Taufu, I don't know. I do apologise. I must learn how you pronounce your surname. She scored a try as well. So well done to those girls. And to Becky Boyd, who we met on the media day, didn't we? Who had less than a year ago been in a horrible car accident. And there was a thought she might never play rugby again, but she's back. And she did 25 tackles against Ealing last week. And the quote was, she put in a barnstorming display of ball-carrying brilliance yesterday. So that is brilliant, Becky. And we know you hate having your photograph taken, but we love you dearly. And well done. So well done, Lightning. So that's really good.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Really good. Really good. And great that they've got a win on the board. I'm sure that's cheered everybody up.
Yeah.
So media corner.
Yes.
So TNT is actually, it's a bit of a curate's egg, my relationship with TNT, because we were all waxing lyrical saying how wonderful David Flatman and Ferguson's brilliant little piece.
Oh, that was so enjoyable.
Friday. No, well done, Fergs. Well done, Flat. That excellent little piece on scrummaging, because we know, but then they blotted their copybook.
How did they do that, Mrs. Jones?
So I'm sat there in my little fishing stool. Well, it wasn't. My little fishing stool. And I'm taking photographs of the warm-up, and I'm clearly there. I'm wearing a bright blue bib. I'm not on my sun lounger. I've got my red hat. I'm not necessarily expecting them to recognise the brand. Well, I'm sure some of them do. And what did they do? They just came and stood in front of me. Literally in front of me. Now, I can understand that they wanted to stand near the scrummaging practice because, of course, they'd just done the thing with Fergs and that's got that. But if they'd stood 10 foot further to my right, they'd have been out the way. The guy with the tripod, who wasn't doing anything, he was just stood watching, and we actually said to him, can you just move? And he moved for about an inch and then decided, no, I'm not going to bother. So, come on, TT. We're all doing a job. We realised that the little thatch one, Ben Kay and co, had to have a chat about scrums. Get that. Understood the fact you just done that piece. But there are lots of people working pitch side, look over your blessed shoulders and take care of all of us. So, not good, not friendly, I thought.
No.
Unlike
But
Brando was on top form on Friday. Very, very good form. My favourite. I don't know. Is it floor manager, production manager? Anyway, he was in top form, and
we may find out in the not too distant future
because Brando's quite keen to join us on the Ladies What Pod. So
because he wants cake.
Well, yes, but the influence of Mr. Steve Brandon, is everywhere. That man is probably one of the best production managers in the game, and as watchers of sport on TV, you won't realise how many things he is. He's just brilliant at it, and he has that long journey to the gardens. 4 minutes. So the running joke can continue. But yeah, Steve and his son Jack. Although Jack's not allowed to come because he won't get in a word in edgeways. It says.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So that will be done sometime in the near future. And,
Indeed. And it was good to see Bull, our favourite TV cameraman.
Oh, it was lovely to see Bull. Yeah, big hug with
Bull, who's now on a static camera. The youngsters get a roving camera.
That's what he said. Let the young bloods run up and down, knacker themselves. But I'm done with that.
He's done with that, so he's on a static camera. But it's great to see him at the ground because he is one of the characters that we need in the sport. Talking of characters, I think two we don't need.
Do say.
So, if you subscribe to the Times, you'll realise it's not cheap. And actually, the standards of sporting reporting in the Times is hitting lower and lower depths. Stuart Barnes, I don't know what you get paid, but I'm sure. Please, could you write about something other than Bath? He's basically being paid to watch his former club. I was just like, yeah. He wrote the most bizarre article about George Furbank. I've read it twice now, and it's like, what was that about? And then Stephen Jones. Seriously? Yesterday's match against Saracens. Now, we know Mr. Jones can't see anything that Saracens do. They do no wrong.
Yeah.
But, sorry, the Times. You need, they actually got rid of one of the best sports writers earlier in the summer in Henry Winter, who's a football writer, which didn't make any sense. But they've kept Barnes and Jones. It just doesn't make sense. And
can I say, if you shop in Waitrose and you have a My Waitrose card, you get the Times for free.
Yeah, but yes, but sadly, I do actually read it for other things. The nearest Waitrose to me is in Ely, and then the next one is in Trumpington, which is the other side of Cambridge. So I don't exactly pass it.
You're not living in the right place, you see.
No, whereas Miss Jones, you see, her Waitrose, walking posh Park End, walking distance to her Waitrose.
See, Towcester, we shop in Waitrose and Aldi. Is where we shop in Towcester.
Like the mix, yes.
Oh yeah,
Ours is the Co-op and Waitrose.
We have a Co-op for emergencies, but the big shops are done in Aldi and Waitrose in Towcester. You see the same people going around both. It's highly entertaining. So the Times. So they're well. And the Guardian didn't even bother with Friday night rugby.
No, we didn't exist on Friday night. So two of really for Newcastle, really a really important game, and obviously our game not important. So the Guardian didn't even worry. I do fear for sports writing in this country. But anyway, but if actually you could say it worldwide, because if the Sports Illustrated can't survive, what can? Anyway, so
but I have news. Talking of George Furbank, the Saints Supporters Club were contacted by email by the iPaper. That's an online thing. I think. Do they? I don't.
Used to be the Independent.
No, it's not the Independent. It's a separate thing. I looked it up.
Well, it's a spin. It is a spin-off from what was formerly the Independent, and is now owned by a Russian oligarch, I believe.
Oh, wow. Well. So I was
Yeah.
sancted by them anyway. So the
It
Saints
likes to be on ironically, it likes to be on the leftish side of the political world.
So, so they said we want to do an interview about George Furbank. Yeah, grand. So I said, yeah, happy to do that because, I will talk to anybody about anything, whether I know anything or not. So I spoke to this lovely chap called Alex about why George Furbank should be England's fullback instead of Freddie Stewart. Well, because he's better, mainly, obviously.
It's one of the
very short interview.
One of the easier questions you had to answer, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is really. So that is coming out sometime. He said he'd let me know, but it's not been done yet.
Excellent. Excellent.
That's
We're in
good.
the build up to the internationals, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, top corner, I thought I'd start not with rugby this week because we had some very sad news in the world of sport, and many of you will recognise this gentleman. Chris Hoy, and I'm quite. I think many of us are upset about this because he obviously didn't want to reveal his diagnosis. He's been outed by the press, and so when he originally announced it, he didn't want to tell anybody. But very sadly, Chris Hoy announced this weekend he did an interview with the Times, which is quite hard reading, but well worth a read. There's actually some sports writing that's worth reading. That his diagnosis is terminal. He's only 48. And he is... I had the privilege of meeting him quite a few years ago. 2015 this was.
Oh, wow.
So this is with... at the anniversary games at the London Stadium, I think it's called now. And Chris is high-fiving athletes from Newham and Essex Beagles Athletic Club, who I occasionally volunteer. It's in the Newham area, which is where the stadium is. And the kids were invited to run a race. And so here he is. I was just blown away. I was thinking, just think, all the people that walk this route during the Olympic Games onto the track. I was sort of, taken in by the whole thing. It was just amazing. Anyway, the kids are being high-fived by Chris because he hosted the children for the whole event, and it was just magical. He was he was totally charming, and it was just brilliant fun. And then he awarded the medal. So the organisers were really, really good. This one's better. He's trying to look at all the cameramen. They were really good. As you can see, the kids are all properly dressed up. They've got their anniversary games, Diamond, because it was part of the Diamond League, so it's actually a proper event. The women had just run their 100 metres, and Dina Asher-Smith had just set... I'm trying to see round corners. This is not good, is it? Again, no. Dina Smith, who's also utterly charming, just set the fastest time by a British woman. So there she is with her 10.99. But it was just an absolutely lovely day. And that's the bit. What do they call that bit? That's where they all got interviewed by the radio and all sorts.
Fantastic!
Yeah, there he is. So it was a magical day, and I think we send a ladies' what pod. Probably you'll never hear this. But we wish the Hoy family well because, sadly, Chris's wife has also been diagnosed with MS. So the family are facing some real challenges.
Real battles.
We wish the Hoy family well. But yeah, I shall never forget that day. It was an absolute.
But there is another Saints link in there, isn't there? Because Ruben's mum was doing stuff, wasn't she?
Yes. So the Diamond League, the anniversary games, was shown on Auntie Beeb. And as far as Ruben's mum was concerned, it was all done. So they were all talking about the fastest time by a British woman. And then she realised that something was going on over her shoulder because the crowd went absolutely mad for all the kids because it was announced the kids were going to run it, and so they started cheering. And of course, she was like, "What else going on? There's no race; it's finished." And then she turned over her shoulder to see our kids, running down the track, and it was completely nonplussed by it. So they had to get somebody to explain what was going on. It was great. So so Ruben's mum was there to witness Newham and Essex Beagles under 13's big moment at the Olympic Stadium.
Oh, brilliant. That's a lovely memory to have.
It is a wonderful memory, and I just can't believe how gracious Sir Chris Hoy is. He was just lovely. He was absolutely lovely. Really, really good. But you wanted me to, rightly, what I'll do is I'll come back to the... Ooh, my mouse is...
What are you doing to that mouse? It sounds like you're battering it to death.
I want to batter it to death. Right, no, I'm going to... Are we now going to have a quick look at photographs from Friday? Because there were some photos that you were particularly taken with, I believe. In fact, many people were taken with. Right at the very end. Well, not after James Ram's try. So in the second half. Here we go. They kept me busy on Friday. It's, I think, this one here. What else if I... There you go. There we go.
That's the one. Yeah. Yeah. The way, though, it's just perfectly framed with the background, the steps either side. You couldn't have done it better.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
It really is.
I was lucky because there was a lot going on, and you can see. Yeah. The reason we would describe it in the trade as very warm is actually the lighting in that part of the ground is warm anyway, but the orange shirts had caused my camera to be I was on auto white balance for the camera geeks because there's just too many different colours. If you try to set
I'm nodding as if I have any understanding of that at all. Oh yes.
If you try to set it the Kelvin of the ground, you'd be all over the shop. So I just left it. But normally you can, in post processing, you can correct it, but I didn't because actually the colours are part of the joy of the thing.
They are.
It has a sort of painting quality about it. So yeah.
And I just think it aesthetically it's so pleasing you don't really realise why, but it's because of it's framed by the steps, isn't it? It just is. It just works.
I did a version actually where I did crop it, so it's basically the steps and the players. Normally, so what I do is when I give it to the Saints media team, I give them the choice later on how they want to frame it because they may want to put it in a particular banner or something. So I don't tend to crop as heavily, but yesterday I did crop it, but it is
super photo.
It's one that I shall enjoy. I quite like this one actually because it just made me laugh.
Oh yes.
Appearing from behind the he was a very happy boy, Mr. Guttridge in the background, I believe. Yes,
I think he managed to stay in his chair the whole time.
Yeah,
I think.
But it was a great try. It was a great try. But I had loads of fun with the cameras on Friday. And I believe, of course, Mr. Dependable is in the shot, and we haven't really met Mr. Dependable. I think he's working his way back into things. That's the way I describe it. He's finding his footing. He looked very assured on Friday.
But for Anna and Matt, Mr. Dependable's parents, you need to watch this on whatever YouTube, because you won't be able to see this on Spotify, but your son is there in the photograph.
Absolutely. And Matt had already said on a certain social media platform that's the picture. That's the picture. That was the message I got on Friday night. And it's just one of us a joy. And when you get something like that, it is lovely to see.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So well done everybody. What we didn't say, did we say yesterday about the Bedford game that a certain Mr. Vesty and Mr. Dowson were there.
No, we didn't. We didn't. We forgot to say that. Yeah, and Sir Ian McGeechan was there as well.
McGeechan. But Sam and Phil greased the players as they came off the pitch, which I thought was classy, very classy, and had a chat with them all. And then there were one or two other reprobates there, the Waller brothers, and
yes,
the or otherwise known as the Tom Cruise Appreciation Society.
Well, yes, I guess that was probably why they were there.
Yeah. So I had a good time with the cameras. I won't have a good time with the cameras at Bristol, not because I'm predicting a Saints disaster. I'm predicting that the lights will be shocking.
And it's Bristol.
And it'll
probably be raining.
Dave Rogers, our good friend from Getty Images, told me that they actually have replaced the lights at Bristol and made them worse.
How can you do that? How can you make them worse?
Apparently, they spent quite a lot of money on them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, walking rugby.
Yes, I actually went along. No, I didn't play. I just coached from the side.
You remember what the shape of your D was? Did you?
Yeah. And it was good attendance on Thursday. So the numbers are slowly growing, and we had a lovely lad, Alistair, join us, and they discovered walking rugby they've been watching the Paralympics, and Channel 4 had a QR code to scan to find out where there was something for people with additional needs in your area, and the walking rugby came up, and he came and he scored a try and seemed to thoroughly enjoy himself. So we hope to see him back as well. So that was lovely. Good time seemed to be had by all, actually.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Did you get the verb right for the try bit?
Oh, I'm sorry. He did a try. He did a try.
Yes. Alfie. Thank you.
Yeah. That's my Alfie, not Alfie Garside, who also did a try. He also did a try.
Yes.
Well
done on walking rugby. Well done getting back into it, because you've had so many injuries. We were fearing for your walking rugby career at one stage.
Well, I'm hoping to put my boots on and maybe participate next Thursday. So we will see.
Well, the IT department here has just got back from Histon.
Yeah.
And he had a good time, so got a bit damp because it's still wet and windy.
Oh, I say, I was out watching Toaster Minis, and it wasn't too bad when I first got there, but the wind did get up. And when you're little, you can be blown all over the shop. Not me, the children I'm talking about.
So I hear a rumour that you mentioned that Harry's done us another one of Harry's reports.
There's a Harry report coming through, yes. So shall we see that now?
Yes, let's see it now.
Here we are with Harry after the under-10s training session this morning in the wind. How did you do, Harry? Would you like...
I did really well. I got a few tackles and I scored 2 tries. And when I got tackled, I got straight back up.
You did jump straight back up to your feet. Now, what did you learn today, really, about how best it is to get to score a try?
I need to be more involved and not stay back. I need to get up there really fast.
You do indeed, but well done, Harry. You did well today. Thank you very much, Harry.
He's good, isn't he? He's good.
He's getting there. And Alfie is still camera shy, bizarrely, because he's not at all shy normally. It's the reverse. Harry is normally shyer than that. But anyway, but Alfie, he didn't do a try. Harry did 2 tries. Alfie didn't do a try, but got several tags and survived the zombie apocalypse. Which they play. They play at the end of their sessions in the under 7s. But he had a good time. So came
Excellent.
Being very happy. So so looking ahead to next week, we've got Bristol, which not a happy hunting ground And we're without the
but he was. I mean, I do remember going there, and we scored with a certain Andrew Kellaway scoring in that lovely red shirt.
Yeah.
One season. I like that because it coordinated with my hat.
Yes.
So we have won there, but it just seemed the last two occasions have just not. Anyway. Oh, and then we had that terrible one where we were winning, and then poor Erin Painter gave away a penalty last kick of the game to lose it.
Yeah.
So we've had some shockers there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it will be good to see. Let's put it past us. But there's nothing you can do about the lights. The lights are still going to be shocking.
No. Of course, we're all without our internationals, our England internationals, because they're in Girona.
Yeah, Girona. Yeah.
That'll prepare.
In Northamptonshire.
Well, that'll prepare you for playing in Twickenham in November, won't it?
Yes.
Okay. Sure it will. I don't see why they have to have another training week. But anyway, what do I know? I know what we haven't talked about. The foundation dinner that was on Wednesday night.
Yes, we haven't quite got there yet because we were doing Towcester under 10s and 7s, but
we were, and then I leapt ahead to next week.
Yes,
I missed the Saint Supporters Club. We're at the ground giving out badges to members. We've got a special badge, rather nice badge. We'll be there again the next home game. And we will still have some news coming out about things that are going to be happening very soon. And then the foundation dinner, which I'm sort of lumped in with that, happened on Wednesday, raised £4,000, I think, for the foundation. I'm hoping it's the first of an annual event, that it will grow and it has capacity to grow. So watch this space for that. It was a good time was had by those of us who were there. Some of us felt a little delicate on Thursday, let's put it that way. But it was nice to see the Waller brothers again. Jamie Elliott came. Stephen Myler, he was there. Nice lad. And I'm missing somebody. Obviously, Tom James came as foundation ambassador. So, and if there is somebody else I've
forgotten, working in prison. So, no.
Yeah. Yes, and Halos continue. We have another new Halo recruit who also joined the Saint Supporters Club. So well done, Jules. Welcome aboard. And anybody else who wants to be a Halo. The initial batch of Halos all came from the Saint Supporters Club. So it helps if you remember. But if you're not, you may be asked to join the Saint Supporters Club as well as part of condition of becoming a Halo. We can't force you, but it would be nice. So anybody wants to be a Halo, get in touch with me or Christy at the club. That's it, I think. And we Haloed all over the shop. Haloed away.
Yes, I saw you wandering about the place. Dr. Jones was saying that he greeted Mr. Ridley into the ground.
Yes. Yeah.
And he also greeted Mr. Dixon into the ground, who apparently harumphed. But Mr. Ridley he was greeted. He found it quite charming.
We also greeted the sale coach, and we welcomed them. And Alex Sanderson just ignored us. But one of the Dupreas said, "Oh, much appreciated," which was sweet.
You see, it does work. It sort of lightens the mood.
It does work. Yeah, it does.
Well done.
So that was quite good.
Excellent. Excellent work, Haloing. So, well, as we say, on to Bristol.
Yeah. Well, it'll be what will be. Just if we could just go out there and play our game.
To seeing some of the players that we haven't seen much of this season, it'll be a run into. Who knows? I mean, Bristol lost yesterday. That's not, Yeah. It's everybody's beating everybody time.
Yes,
Bath. But anyway, and come on Gloucester this afternoon.
Yes.
Blues, as I said earlier, are having a weekend off, and Lightning are off to Quins. I'm not going down to London, having just got back from Bristol. That's a little bit too much.
No, it's a bit too much. But good luck to all our teams who are playing on their travels. I don't know what the under 10s and under 7s are doing next week. I have no doubt I'll be told at a date if I'm needed to ferry children around or anything. But yeah.
Yes. So, Saints are on the up. It's been a good week. It's been a good week for Blues, good week for Saints, good week for Lightning. So well done, everybody.
Yeah.
That was...
Ladies What Pod? 44.
44. Well done, Mrs. Saunders. Well done. Have a lovely week, everybody. And we'll see you for the next one.
Yes, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.